वेलकम टू SOMP। आज के बिग पिक्चर डिबेट का टॉपिक है RCEP इंडिया स्टैंड। These were the panelists of our discussion. So आइए देखते हैं कि context क्या है। Recently, 15 countries, excluding India, came together and signed an agreement called RCEP Agreement on the sidelines of an online ASEAN summit. In the backdrop of this, our External Affairs Minister, Mr. S. Shankar, said that the impact of the past pacts with RCEP has been deindustrialization, and the consequences of the future one would lock India into the global commitments, many of them not to India's advantage. ये जो RCEP agreement हुआ था, this was between the 15 Asia Pacific nation, which includes China as well. They came together with the hope that it will help them recover from the shocks of the COVID-19 pandemic. This RCEP agreement was signed after the 8 years of negotiation at the conclusion of the annual summit of the Southeast Asian leaders and their regional partners that held virtually this year. इंडिया जो कि अभी लीडिंग कंज्यूमर ड्रिवन मार्केट है इन दिस रीजन में हैज पुल्ड आउट ऑफ द टॉक्स लास्ट ईयर because they were concerned that जो भी elimination हो रहा है tariffs का it would open its market to flood off the imports that could harm the local producers. However, other nations of the RC who is a part of RCEP agreement have said that in the past have already said that in the past that the door remains open for the India's participation in the RCEP. So now let us see what is RCEP, that is Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. It is a proposed agreement between the member states of ASEAN and its free trade agreement partners. ये जो पैक्ट है ये एम करता है टू कवर द ट्रेड्स इन गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इकोनॉमिक एंड टेक्निकल कॉपरेशन एज वेल एज इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी एंड डिस्प्यूट रेजोल्यूशंस में भी ये जो RCEP negotiations हुआ था it was launched between the 10 ASEAN member states and 6 ASEAN FTA members, that is free trade agreement partners, which includes Australia, China, Japan, New Zealand, South Korea and India as well, though India has made an exit from this last year in 2019. This negotiation was launched during the 21st ASEAN summit in Cambodia in 2012. ये ऑब्जेक्ट इज आरसीईपी का ऑब्जेक्टिव है टू क्रिएट एन इंटीग्रेटेड मार्केट दैट इज making it easier for the products and services of each of the countries to be available across the whole region. इनका मेजर आइडिया इज टू क्रिएट इसका मेजर आइडिया है इज टू क्रिएट अ मेगा ट्रेडिंग ब्लॉक इन एशिया. बेनिफिट्स क्या हैं अगर हम आरसीईपी को ज्वाइन करेंगे? इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड to eliminate a series of tariff on imported products for the member nations in the next 20 years, and member nations को equally treat भी किया जाएगा. That would incentivize companies in member nations to look at the trade region of the suppliers. As I've said it earlier, India has made an exit from this negotiation in 2019, that is last year November. So now let us see कि इंडिया ने क्यों withdraw किया from RCEP. One of the reasons is unfavorable balance of trade. Though trade had increased the post FTA with South Korea, ASEAN countries, and Japan, लेकिन imports have risen faster than exports from India. According to the paper which was published by नीति आयोग, इंडिया का जो भी bilateral trade deficit है वो सबसे ज्यादा है with the member countries of RCEP. So India was not satisfied जो भी final outcome था, since जो भी pressure हुआ था, that is the undue pressure was brought to bear on India at the last stage. Next major issue is the protection of the domestic industry. Indian industry feared that अगर हम custom duties को reduce करेंगे, it would result in import surge, especially from China, with which it has a massive trade deficit. So India has reportedly expressed apprehensions on lowering and elimination tariffs on several products like dairy, steel, etc. For instance, अगर देखा जाए जो dairy industry है हमारी, it is expecting a stiff competition from Australia and New Zealand. Currently, India का average bound tariff for dairy product is about 35%. अगर RCEP को साइन करेगा इंडिया तो it will bind the country to reduce the current level of tariffs to zero within the next 15 years, which will hinder the domestic industries. Next angle is Chinese angle. India has already signed FTA with all the countries of RCEP except China के. So trade data suggest करता है कि India's deficit with China is on the higher side that of the remaining RCEP constituents put together. So this trade deficit is a primary concern for India as right now and as after signing RCEP, cheaper products from China would have flooded the Indian market and might have hindered the local producers. नेक्स्ट मेजर इशू इज द जियोपॉलिटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव. अगर जियोपॉलिटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव से देखा जाए आरसीईपी इज अ चाइना लेड और इज इंटेंडेड टू एक्सपैंड चाइना's influence in Asia. So joining such bloc can undermine the position of India when it has a political and strategic differences with China. One more issue is the rule of origin. इंडिया चाहता है कि स्ट्रिक्ट रूल्स फॉलो किए जाएं, दैट इज द ऑफ ओरिजिन रूल्स ऑफ ओरिजिन फॉलो किए जाएं टू प्रिवेंट चाइनीज गुड फ्रॉम फ्लडिंग द कंट्री थ्रू द मेंबर कंट्रीज जिनके लोअर ड्यूटी या नो ड्यूटी लेवल्स हैं. सो दीज आर फ्यू इश्यूज जिसके कारण इंडिया ने विथड्रॉ किया फ्रॉम द आरसीईपी एग्रीमेंट. सो नाउ लेट अस सी द रीजंस फॉर इंडिया टू रिव्यू कि वो उसको क्यों ज्वाइन करना चाहिए आरसीईपी को. So with the global trade and the economy facing a steep decline due to COVID-19 pandemic, RCEP can serve as a bulwark in the containing the free fall of the global economy, and it can also help in re-energizing the economic activity. So RCEP presents a unique opportunity to support India's economic recovery, inclusive development, and job creation. So that is why India needs to rethink to join the RCEP agreement. India can also gain from being a part of RCEP in terms of welfare improvement for the consumers. Also, global trade would have also increased if would have been a signatory because India is a market of textile and dairy products. तो अच्छा खासा global trade हो सकता था अगर इंडिया ज्वाइन करे आरसीईपी को. So India's decision would impact its bilateral trade ties with RCEP member nations as they would have been more inclined to focus on bolstering the economic ties within the bloc. The move could potentially leave India with less scope to tap the large market of the RCEP presents the size of the deal in Mammoth. That is, as the country um, involved account for around over 2 billion of the world's population. ये जो RCEP nation है, they account for about 2 billion of the world's population. So अगर इंडिया इससे विड्रॉ कर रहा है तो इट विल लीव अ लेस स्कोप फॉर देम टू टैप ऑन दिस लार्ज मार्केट. सो इंडिया नीड्स टू रिव्यू for joining this RCEP agreement. So now let us see what can be the way forward. India has done well in terms of assessing the cost and the benefits of the RCEP and therefore coming to an informed conclusion that perhaps it is not right for India to join. However, before joining such blocs, India needs a massive economic restructure करना चाहिए इंडिया को. साथ ही साथ they should improve in the manufacturing and the export sectors as well. हमें क्रिएट करना होगा एक मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब. हम वी नीड टू क्रिएट इंडिया एज अ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब so that जो भी odds हो रहे हैं due to this can be tackled easily due to the trade deficit. So India should not close the door on this agreement and should think upon the idea of being an observer of the RCEP. अगर long term में देखा जाए India will be the largest economy in 2100. So we should be optimistic about this. India needs to strengthen and upgrade its existing FTAs, that is, free trade agreements, and ensure that they are in abreast with the times. Thus, with the global economic scenario in the present time and near future, it would be India's interest to dispassionately review its position on RCEP and carry out structural reforms that will help India to mitigate some of the repercussions which is arising from the RCEP. So that's all for today. If you found this video helpful, like the video, comment on it. Also subscribe to the channel. आप हमारा टेलीग्राम चैनल भी ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं which is @SOMP guidance for further updates. Thank you.